Welcome back to the Age of Empires 4 action, folks. Some competitive Age of Empires 4 action as we are here in Himeyama for a best of one from the top team gamer tournament. We've got Cat and Vortex going up against Voldemar and Dumu. Dumu is going to be on the HRE. In fact, we've got both sides of the Roman kind of coin here, right? We've actually got the Byzantines appearing with Voldemar. Meanwhile, to the south side, Vortex on the Delhi, an infamous civ for him, of course. And then rounding out, we're going to have Cat on the Ruse, which is quite appropriate. Now, this is a pretty interesting matchup, actually. I feel like everyone got a nibble of something strong here. Delhi probably are, of the four civs appearing here, seem to be the weaker. And what I mean by that is that if you look at, like, ranking lists right now, the other three are going to be S tier, right? This civ is just below that a little bit A tier, but what the Delhi do have is a very strong execution point. What they do not have, unfortunately, is a very good map for that execution point. This is a 2 sacred site map on separate sides that separates your ability to just lock in quickly. It's not like a Lipany where you get 2 sacred sites easily into gold trickle and then go for the third. This is going to be a very big tug of war on both sides of the central pond. A central pond that Vortex, funnily enough, has moved for first. And look at that, dude. You put Voldemar in the title. It's kind of like the Candyman. You know when you say his name in the mirror? You put Voldemar in the title, he appears in your chat. So this is pretty cool, though, right? Like, the reason why Vortex has done this and no one else has is, remember, the Delhi fishing boats have got a bow attack. It's a pretty easily overlooked detail these days. The Delhi fishing boat attack was maybe I'd say a little bit overvalued in the very early days. When people started to realize that your opponent is idling his eco to attack you, they realized there wasn't as much to fear. But on this type of map, considering it's a vested interest for potentially 4 players, it's worth going for. Especially when you consider there should be what? It should be... Oh, for God's sake. Have they never fixed this? Okay, so it's only 2k food. That's kind of unfortunate. In my opinion, this should always scale based on the number of players. So 4 should be the base, and it should be 1 extra fish for each player. That means this should have actually been a 3,000 food source, right? Instead of just a 2. I know that in 3v3s it goes up to, I think, 6 fishing spots on 1 pond. It just kind of sucks that it sticks at 4 on the 2v2. Grand Wineries are coming up, as well as the Ark and Chapel. Yeah, notice a lot quicker of attack timing here. And whoa, okay. We've got some all-in boys here. Cat is going for a Kremlin drop on one of the sacred sites. That's kind of wild. Even pinches a wolf on the location. Damn. Talk about a little bit of extra cheddar in the pocket. In fact, he's a 330 bounty boy, so this is going really well so far for Cat. Past the tier 2 easily. I mean, this is expected, I think, on these type of maps, right? Like, you find usually Roost players quite often get a dominant amount of bounty when you're playing team games. The logic being is most of the time, you know, when you're in team games, it's not as worth for you to sacrifice a villager production to get an extra scout. It doesn't feel that worth anyway, because there's just too much map to cover anyway. So it just kind of becomes a get what you can and expect the Roost player to usually get a lot. So it looks like we're going to easily be cracking 400 bounty as he hits Tech 2. But this is kind of cool, right? I don't feel like we see the Kremlin drop that often, even when we watch 2v2s on the sacred site with Delhi. Usually because there's 3 sacred sites, right? And that's when it feels bad, because the thing you have to keep in mind is by dropping this Kremlin here, Cat has forfeited the extra wood gathering at home. He'd have to spend 175 wood to get that. So unless he wants to gather here on this tree line, which doesn't feel great, or this one, which also doesn't feel great because it's forward, he's going to have to set up a wooden fortress at home. Does get a decent amount of food here, though. And admittedly, with the double boar nearby, there's a pretty sick play for him. I wonder if that's part of why Cat done this, as he saw that it was double boar and realized that he can get a lot of safe food. That's a smart idea if so, because it means compared to their 2 opponents, they have got a lot more food safely on the map they can access. The problem, though, is the 2 civs you're against are the 2 that really do not give a crap about needing to build farms, right? These 2 civs make farm building kind of look busted. The HRE with 40% increased gathering rate can afford their normal farms. And then, do I really need to talk about how absurdly good olive groves are? Like, these things are broken. Look at that. You see that right there? You see that 8 stone he got for building a 60 wood olive grove? An olive grove that's already better than everyone else's 75 farms, right? Like, this thing is absurd. So really, when you think about it that way, it kind of feels like what Vortex and Cat done was a necessity, not an advantage. Which is kind of unfortunate for them, right? Like, in the right type of games, like say you're up against French on them spamming knights as an example, then this play feels really cool. Because you're getting loads of food, and your opponent's going to have to come out for food as well. But sadly, the Civ choices by Voldemar and Dimmu, it's almost like they kind of suspected a need to camp. Dimmu is going to be going for that second TC, so we'll be looking to inflate his eco. Pretty bold with very limited value around the Archon, but if he walls himself in, he's always got this north side to kind of retreat into, where there's plenty of wood, some extra gold, berries that he can gather from. What do you guys think, by the way? One's if you think that Voldemar and Dimmu have got this, two's if you think Cat and Vortex have got this. I think Vortex and Cat have a really solid timing if they start locking it in quick. But I feel like you need to do more than just camp. Because the economies are so freaking strong on the north side, if you just sit on these sacred sites and tick them down, one of these players will tech up. And the other is going to provide a pretty lucrative backline. Yeah, we already do see the javelins being added in. Jabs are really awkward against the Delhi, man. I actually think Jav contract really sucks against Delhi in particular. But it might be that he sees value expecting archers maybe from Cat, but I don't see that making sense. I feel like Voldemar's trying to look for a way to just dent his opponent, and that's why he's going for Javs over longbows. Longbows are better if you're going to defend. So this tells you a lot, right? Like, it's kind of obvious from the fact that Dimmu went 2TC, he's the boomer boy, whereas Voldemar is going to be more of kind of the aggro ape, right? At least that's the way this feels like it's meant to be. Guys, you're already arriving. We'll need to get some Limitane out. Unfortunately, the Rax is quite late there, so we'll experience a little bit of harassment. Meanwhile, east side, looks like we actually have Militia diving in. So a little bit of a nuisance here for Dimmu, and unfortunately, because he went for that second TC and he split his eco a bit, he hasn't got people nearby to easily garrison. Wolves are going to be able to go up here, but Knights should now be following up. We've got scouts watching every single angle, making sure Dimmu cannot get out of his base. West side, we finally got the first Javs out. Voldemar needs to be careful not to overextend with this. He should be anticipating archers arriving very quickly here, because typically the Ghazi is always followed up by archers. In about 9 out of 10 formats, you will see archers as the second component. Do they still view the win condition as the sacred site is what I'm wondering? So I feel like that might be a little bit of a bait. The problem is, like, if you hesitate on this, Voldemar is getting a lot of farms online, as is Dimmu. I'm worried the food source is just not going to last long enough for Vortex and Cat. Because they're in a difficult position now, folks. They have to maintain control at all times. And look at this dive. Ghazi running past the Limitane under the javelins. Two get struck down straight away. Nicely microed there. Now turnaround on the villagers as well. Vortex just on point with the pressure. And Voldemar will be able to stabilize in the end. Does have enough Limitane here. Ghazi's worst sacrifice, but remember, the javelins are very expensive here for Voldemar. They take a very long time to accrue the resources for. Like, if you look here, you'll see he's not generating an insane amount. Right, he has to wait, what is it, 2 minutes? A little bit over 2 minutes to start pumping. So the whole cycle for him is about 3 minutes to get new jabs out. Considering the state of the map, he can't really move beyond the initial berries, right? You can already see there's a patrol on the north side. In fact, it's starting to look like Cat and Vortex are teaming up on Voldemar here. Damn, that's really smart, actually. So the logic here, right, is that these players cannot react and defend each other easily. They are really far apart. They're against double cav. If they run out, if they trickle troops, they die. Great raid here. Voldemar taking some painful damage. 28 eco. Meanwhile, should have been starting at, what, 36? Jesus. Oh, sorry, no, yeah, he's deceptive. 31. I was about to say, he has not lost that many villagers. So only, what, 3 losses of Voldemar so far? I say only as if it doesn't hurt. Now, this is the interesting part, is like, if this sticks as a 1v1, I still do favor the Delhi. The reason is that these archers, their attack speed buffer, I've watched it time and time again, they can snowball to a high enough comp that they can eviscerate the Javelin contract. Because you just can't get enough Javs out. So keep an eye out for that detail. Like, Dimmu is going to have to start bailing Voldy out, and it looks like he's already got spears on the way across to help with that. Backside, looks like we actually have a raid coming in. Dimmu, nice strike here. So this is him punishing Cat for not building any archers. Wait, what? Why did Cat think he could get away with this? I guess he assumed Vortex would cover him in that regard, but they're so far apart, it doesn't work. Unless you do get pulled, Spearmen have to stand their ground. Meanwhile, dive into the Byzantine base. We have got a fortified outpost in place here. Farms are about to get idled up. Ghazi getting low, though. I think this is going to be a reset. Vortex has to back off from this. Yeah, it's the outpost. The outpost is just adding way too much damage into this. But Sacred Sites are now on lock. So we have a ticking time bomb that Dimmu and Voldemar need to worry about. Meanwhile, looks like spears have finally been cut down. I think that was all the militia points though, right? Yeah, that was entirely every single ticket used. Behind this, Dimmu, eco up to 47, so he'll be able to afford a reboom to spears quite quickly. In fact, the second wave is now on the way to assist the defense of the Byzantines. This is the alternate version of history where, was it Emperor Justine, I think, sent the messages asking for the Catholic faiths to defend him, and they actually answered for once. Right? Didn't have him on, what's it called? Voice line. I've forgotten what it's called. Voice message? Voice message. Vortex needs be a little bit careful about this, actually. He needs Cat to come in with the assist. In fact, Cat, is he just going to just sell him upriver and go straight for the eco instead? I think he is. In the meantime, we have got Voldemar with safe gold, finally. On the right backside of his base. And a decap now in the way. So push forward continues. Voldemar just trickling down that archer count, keeping it controllable here. Limitane are going to have to retreat a little bit. They don't want to overextend. Ghazi are now looking to march forward. In the meantime, the Knights wasting a lot of time going around the back here. Limitane numbers are limited. Say that 10 times. But there should be enough here to keep Vortex back. Can they stop this decap? So I'm wondering. It feels like you have to dive on, and that might cost you dearly. Oh, no! Dimmu, no! Oops. Yeah, now it's too late. Voldemar can't hang around to help with that. Dimmu might still get the decap, though. Yo, why are you kidding me? Less than a second away from the decap. Vortex snipes the final spearman, keeps the timer ticking, and it costs Voldemar so much of this army. All of the javelins are down, and he might be in trouble. Dimmu, now with the tech up, means that Voldemar is about to get sold out here. Only has Limitane to defend and absolutely nothing else. I'm not liking the look of this. I mean, the timer, they're already a decent amount of the way, right? Like, what's the play here? I guess Dimmu has to mass Men-at-Arms? Yeah. The problem is you've got Cat building Knights, right? So if Cat just kind of catches you in the initial build-up, he can keep you down. Looks like right now, though, he is distracted inside Voldemar's base. Yeah, I think Cat and Vortex need to be a little bit careful. In 2v2s, you think it's a good idea to all-in one player and kill them. It's mitigating returns, right? Like, there is a point where when you've got this big army, it's better to go after the other player instead. Instead of doing that, though, they're going to allow Dimmu to keep eco booming up, and are going to full send it into Voldemar's base. This feels a little bit risky. I wonder if they're letting Dimmu have a little bit too much of the cake. Men-at-Arms are now marching across. Cod on the way behind this. Vortex is tacking up. Voldemar positioning is going to be everything here. If he defends too early, he'll die. If he waits too late, there won't be anything to recover. Dimmu marching across now. Men-at-Arms are starting to arrive. Heavy Maces is not there, though. Being queued up now, 45 seconds away. Knights still chasing into that choke point. Limitane turn around for the stab. Good hit there. Cat overextending slightly. Micro a little bit off point. Archers are now trying to follow this up and deal with the Limitane, but the shield wall is up. Men-at-Arms are now trying to trickle in. The Ghazi won't be able to hold them back. Knights are going to research their charge to the east side. But Archer count is getting low. Spearmen in the meantime have moved in. Villagers now to deal with the Rams, and it looks like the assault is not going to work out here. Cat, still a decent number of Knights left over. But with the Heavy Maces coming through in about 15 seconds, this is going to start to turn against him hard. They need to leave, and they need to leave now. Ooh. An expensive dive, right? One that I don't think ultimately got them the winning tick box they're looking for here. Dumu, remember, he has all these farms behind this, so although he's throwing away a lot of men-at-arms, they will keep coming. Damn. A nice final snipe there. Voldemort needs to get off the farms, though. Voldemort. 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 It was going so well. Oh, no. Oh, just turn around again. All right, all of a sudden, it's getting a little bit better, right? Like, Voldemort down at 33 eco now. This boy is desperate for some food, but he can't find it here. He needs to migrate north. Relics should be coming home. First one's been grabbed. It looks like the rest are being blocked out, right? This is a little bit tough, right? I do think that dive costs Vortex and Cat dearly. Maybe if they just pulled back a bit earlier, they could have played the edge of the base. And you want to know how they survived that? It's because the attention got drawn, right? Like, the Ghazi basically just got torn new one by the men-at-arms because there was this full committal by the Knights into the Limitane. That was a misplay. Cat should have been sending the Knights into the reinforcing men-at-arms from Dimmu and then let Vortex deal with the Limitane in the base. If they'd done that, I think this game would be over. But because they didn't, Dimmu is getting an opportunity to keep them both in this game now. 16 men-at-arms and climbing. Now remember, Vortex is in age 3. He has got Lancers coming. But if you're both building into Knights like this, it means the Heavy Maces is even more valuable. It means Spearman is back on the agenda. Villagers with the breakaway there just in time, though. Oh, Cat. Oh my god, could he be dead? Oh, Dimmu's trying for the line formation now. He's trying to pinch him. Cat! Looking more like a sheep right now being herded. Oh, no. Tries to dive in. He's using the charge. He's just trying to use the charge on the javelins to run away quicker. Well played. Cat does mostly dodge death there. Heavy damage on a lot of the Knights now, though. I can't believe he got away with that. I mean, it's wild, right? Like, I actually think Voldemar's 2 javelins kind of griefed them there because if the jabs weren't there, the only thing he'd charge into was the men-at-arms and spears. So kind of like one of those situations where Voldemar's like, I'm helping. And he's not. He's kind of griefing, right? He doesn't mean to. He just wants to try and pressure on. But that was really the only way that Cat would have got out with this many Knights. It would have been probably 5 leaving otherwise because he would have been running past spears and heavy maces. Diving into Dimmu's base, though. What a read, Vortex. They're down to 3 minutes on the timer, guys. Like, this is going to be tight. Men-at-arms also taking a lot of damage. Looks like Veterancy was rushed here by Vortex, so a lot of Scholars focused on getting that tech out. Villagers now also being targeted, so Dimmu, no reaction coming through right now. He's trying to pull the entire army home. They need to go for that Sacred Site instead. Oh my god, Dimmu just realized as well the body blocks are coming in to slow him down in the retreat. All of a sudden, Dimmu losing about, what, 15 eco in that raid? Maybe 10. This is more accurate. Still a heavy wallop, and now they're piling on. Troops are on the way home. Meanwhile, Decap is going to be coming through soon because Dimmu, what a sacrifice here. A keep drop coming in, but one at a price. Villagers are being targeted down. Textile's at least going to mitigate some of those losses. But this will keep the game going, folks. It means that the Decap will be coming in. And it means that Vortex and Cat will need another way of winning this. This could be a good start, though. Raid on the backside. Dimmu, once again, caught out of position here with his economy. Looks like the men-at-arms will be able to start pushing this away. But look at the eco state now. Remember, Southside team is 1 TC, 1 TC. Dimmu was 2 from the early phase of the game. Yet now, they trail by over 10 eco. Oh, I don't like this, though. What? This is a really expensive fight for Cat. Remember, Cat doesn't have farm set up behind this, so losing a decent chunk of these Knights doesn't bode well. He's going to achieve more at a time, so maybe that's the logic as it's worth past that. But it only ends up being worth if you camp here. Like, you need to be right here on the farms. I think you read it right. There we go. So Cat is going to make it work out. Him and Vortex move right on top of Dimmu's food eco. And Dimmu, in desperation, has to gather deer on the west side of the map. Dimmu has a really big problem, folks. He's trickling troops. I thought this was going to be a really bad dive because genuinely, like, the Knight's health before for Cat was terrible, but apparently it had just enough to make it work. And now Dimmu, I mean, like, what do you do here? You're just trickling troops to your death. You can't get new villagers out. Voldemar is not coming to help anytime soon. Baby Boy is trying, but I mean, he's age 2 with a handful of Limitane, right? Like, this is not a fight that should ever work for him. Damn, this is brutal. What a game. Villagers now moving out for the keep drop, Vortex. Oh my god, I don't think Dumu realizes either. He's too distracted in his base. Second TC looking like it's going to burn down. Night Trickle is at least getting carved up now. Dumu yet to react. Finally realizes that he backs away just in time here. Vortex, he cancels the keep and goes even deeper. He says, no, whoa, 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 whoa. I actually wanted those berries all along. Oh my god, Dumu's actually going to attack him? Well, in fairness, Vortex doesn't have textiles, guys. He might be in trouble here. Oh my god, what a read. Meanwhile, Lancers are diving into poor Voldemar's base. How is he even still alive in this game? Does this work? This is going to be close. Oh my god. Oh my god, Vortex. He misread this entirely. And look at his economy. He's down to 51. Make it 50. And Dumu at a solid 58 has to be smiling right now. Because Lord Doubt is smiling down upon Vortex. I can't believe that just happened. More villagers are now being pulled. Actually, Dumu probably should have been trying to burn through that, but would take too long. It's still likely to go up here, but a high price is paid by Vortex. And credit to Dumu, he did not lose that TC in the end, right? He kept it alive. After all those dives, after that reset, a problematic situation now. It just kind of feels like they didn't quite get enough off of Dumu here. Ben will look to just break away. He says, okay, no, that's fine. You can have this now. I took my little slice of the pie. The rest belongs to you, my dear. Oh my god, Voldemort. Like, I feel so bad for him, man. He's the welcome rug for Vortex and Cat in this game. Voldemort can barely exist in this one. Nice little camp spot on the north side. I love how he just kind of walled himself in. It's the only way he can ever gather anything anywhere, right? Timu's the one who will take the risk on the 4 deer. I regret that because Cat is now riding in with the knights. And that is a lot of knights. He has 27 in total. Timu, quick to move away. Voldemort good with the communications there. Men-at-Arms are starting to stabilize at home, right? Like, it looks like Dumu has got a defense force together. 20 men-at-arms here. Unfortunately, 20 men-at-arms against 27 knights should never win that. He needs some spears. I think he's been kept off of spears, though, because of Vortex. I feel like you need to go back to him, though, right? When your opponent starts building crossbows, Spearman is going to be Atri's best friend. And arms with Wallop, though. No charge coming out from Cat. He'll still win this fight. Yeah, and Dumu knows it. He has to back up into the choke point, just try and hold here. So yeah, that's really smart. When you're outnumbered in melee fights like this is the best thing you can do. Pull back into a choke point so they can't use their numbers to overwhelm. Cat did miss micro that. What he should have done is peeled half the knights and went around the back and turned it into a sandwich. A very bready-based sandwich, you know, just a thin little slice of ham here. Spimmer now coming out, though. This should start to reset it. I think this is where Cat is really hard overextending. In theory, it's good, right? Like, you can catch the Spimmen as they trickle out, but you just don't have the knight count anymore. After that fighting, Cat is down to just 12. An expensive engagement for the kitty cat boy. And a big problem now. Cat has gone for a second TC behind this. He doesn't have farm set up yet. And he doesn't have safe food for long behind him. I think he's got one spot here, predictably in the center. This could become a focus fire point for the Northside team. Voldemort, just read your standard 24-minute castle age timing on the Byzantines. As you do, as you do. He has had a hard game. Like, I would wager this is one of the most brutal games Voldemar's had in the group format for this. Because, like, you know, usually when a game's this rough for you, this is just a GG call, right? But Dumu has just been the guardian angel to potentially draw this back later on. Knight's just trying to break through the walls. Dumu trying to keep him at bay. I love the fact you can repair allies' walls. Unfortunately, he cannot repair them quick enough. Or can he? Line formation? Okay, Cat is quick to realize. Yeah, that's really good. If he got in there, he would have been dead. Because the Spearman would have had enough to cover a line here, and then the choke point would have been closed behind you by the spears. Still, someone needs to build archers, guys. Like, this is really bad what's coming out of Vortex and Cat. I feel like Vortex's big area here was going into crossbows without more archers. Like, a 50-50 comp makes sense, but just crossbows doesn't win this. There's a growing risk that Limitane Spear from the north side team will give them the most dented win possible. And a key drop from Vortex. Well, we don't rank him an 11 out of 10 for aggression for nothing. I can't believe he just done that. He keep drops the main TC of Dimmu here. Nice now with the dive. This does reach some of the forward farms, by the way. God, this game is so scrappy. I love it. Yeah, how do Mongols know how to repair walls and keeps? Is that meant to be some sort of Confucian level crap of like, if we know how to bring it down, we know how to build it up? You'd think at some point, if a Mongol is capable of like repairing a keep or a wall, he'd look at like his friend, he'd like, you know what, Genghis? Maybe we should build these too. Like, we clearly know how to. Would this not make it easier to keep people off of our people? Spearman. Oh, what a pincher! Cat able to maneuver out of it, though, with most of the knights. It's so difficult to catch knights, man. Like, it's kind of wild to realize when you realize it in these type of games. I mean, obviously, HRE Spearmen are usually the best at doing it. It's kind of unfortunate it was Voldemar coming from the south side. If it was Voldemar chasing north and then Dimmu coming south, I have no doubts those Spearmen would have got close enough, quick enough. Meanwhile, this key drop has got Trebs coming behind it, so Vortex really is going all in on this kill. What was the final relic count? Did he only get 2? I think it was only 2, yeah. Not ideal. So most of the relics, yeah, 4 down here. I imagine Voldemar got none. That usually happens when you have a 24-minute tech timing. It's kind of a rough one, really. Dimmu not getting as much as he'd like out of this. The 2TC, I think, has made up for it in the grand scheme of things. This is kind of rough as well if you're Vortex. This is very tilting to try and kill. Right, like the Trev count as it is, I don't think you'll be quick enough before E-Repairs comes off cooldown. You might have to repair a little bit if you're Dimmu. And yeah, he's aware of it. Village is now being pulled. Meanwhile, it's like the last of Cat's raid force has come to an end. He only... Wait, what? Guys, this is... without any exaggeration, this is legitimately how you lose games. Both players have gone mass crossbows. And I do not know why. Like, someone has to build men-at-arms. Right? Or spears. You have no real front line here. If they build 1 or 2 mangoes, this is over. For now, though, Dimmu is going to build Trebs to get rid of the forward keep. Oh, and it looks like, unfortunately, Vortex is not respecting the relic range. I think he realized that. Villagers are getting sniped. My brain is like, this should not work for Cat and Vortex. They have got the Sacred Site timer behind this. And wait a second, wait, is that correct? How the hell? I just checked the eco count. The fact that Dimmu and Voldemar are not dead in this game is wild. 137 to 216. Keeps about to drop on both sides. The dive's coming in. Dimmu barely holding on to it. He's not going to be able to hold on to it anymore. Castle goes down. And the mass crossbows dive in. Voldemar, he needs to get here fast. He was chilling at home expecting an attack, but it's all in on the east side base. It's all in on the Roman Empire. Crossbows diving in. I mentioned this shouldn't work, but could it? Maybe. Spirals need to be traded out first. It looks like Dimmu's at a disadvantage there. Dive comes in from the west side of the army of Voldemar. But that crossbow mass is huge here. And Vortex, right now, it looks like Cat is kind of frontlining for him. That's really important. Remember, the Delhi crossbows are better here. You want them to live for longer. TC now being assaulted as well. And the key drops are real here, just constricting the map everywhere. I think that might be enough. You know, despite my reservations about the mass crossbows, clearly I was too focused on the fight and not looking at the economy state. Mass crossbows do indeed work when you're over 80 villages ahead between the two of you. On an equal footing game, this would have been a death sentence for them, but with this type of eco lead, it has become undeniable. Vortex and Cat will be getting the dub. Yeah, there's really nothing left here. Poor Voldemar at 64 eco. It's just taking him so long to try and be present in this game. Now Dumu's going to join him in the Realms of Despair, down at 74 economy total. In fact, Dumu, ironically, after going 2TC at the start of this game, may finish the game with less economy than Voldemar, who spent the majority of the game being dove. That is wild. Mangoes are finally here, though. This is the thing that I was worried about for Vortex and Cat, but the reality is the Springles, right? They should be able to mass more Springles with their economy. Mango shots. Ooh. We'll have to back up here. If they pull off a comeback here, it's a miracle. These are the type of games that you really should never recover from. Yeah, it's got the siege together. It might not have much of a base at this rate. Oy, oy, oy. I'm just trying to think, even if they hold this, how do they get the sacred sites quick enough? And I'm struggling. Mangoes are getting sniped out. Crossbows starting to dive in again. Springles do get sniped down. Well played there. Remember, Voldemar, this is wild. The range damage bonus applies to Springles. That was a smart read. Dive comes through, though, and that should be the last hope destroyed and splintered. No Mangoes left. No hope in hell here. No Archon buff to even try and help you out. Voldemar is sending everything across to Dumu to channel that comeback energy. But there is no comeback to be had here. Vortex and Cat will dominate Himeyama. Aggro Civs have to play aggro ways. I mean, this was a game of the Boomers versus the Zoomers. Zoomers come out ahead.